Hello there. Oh, I am tired. I might be notably lower energy than normal. Not that I'm bursting with energy normally. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and just start. Playing the Japanese version because it's easier. And it's the character Grant is a lot more fun, and I want to use him here. Now, my sisters very graciously gave me a nice Elgato green screen and a nice webcam, which is what I'm using, and a nice light, but I have not set them up yet because I don't fully understand how, and I need to think more about the positioning of the green screen, because I want to get it in a good position behind me, such that it covers as much as possible and also lets me still get up and move my chair to leave. And I just haven't thought as much as I should have about positioning. Because, like, I set it up right behind my chair, and even as close as I could get it, it didn't fully fill the frame because the webcam is wider than my old one. But I think all I need to do is crop the frame, since I don't need it to be quite this wide. But I don't actually know how to do that. I need to fiddle more with the frame. I'm actually gonna move. I'm gonna make the game larger. Because it's... Did it reset my settings, or is it just... What? I just set this. Why did it reset it? The game tiny. Oh yeah. That works. Much better. Ow. But, so, my plan is by next Friday to have the green screen set up, because I also don't even know what software I should install, or if I can just, like, chroma key using Twitch there, like a Twitch extension. I'm not sure. I haven't done sufficient research. Mainly because I've been distracted. My schedule's been messier. I didn't record everything that I wanted to on Sunday like I planned to. So I've had to record it through the week while doing other stuff for school. And specifically, I stayed up too late last night because I forgot I need to get up before noon, stream at noon. And since I don't have class on Fridays, I just forgot that I need to still get up relatively early. I just chugged a Red Bull before starting today. Oh, but I'm excited to play Castlevania 3. This is one of my favorite Castlevania games. Particularly the Japanese version, and there's a bunch of little differences. One of which is the HUD is harder to read in the US. I don't want the axe. Holy Water's not as good as it was in 1, but it's still pretty good. But they made all the text have a fancy font in the US, and it makes it harder to read. But the biggest reason why I prefer the Japanese version is because of Grant. Like I said, this first... I'm gonna try to do several runs here, although I don't know for sure how long that'll take and how well that'll work. But the first run I'm gonna do is with Grant. This game has 3 different companions that you can have with you. You can only do one at a time. And I think you can only encounter 2 of them in the game in one run, because there's different paths you can take between levels. Alucard appears on the hard path, and Sypha appears on the easy path. So you can't encounter the 2 of them in one run. Oh, don't want that dagger. It's fine. Most of the bosses in this game are actually pretty easy. It's the stages that are more difficult than the first game. Like, I already take 1 more damage per hit than in the first game. And Sypha and Alucard function exactly the same in the US and Japan, but Grant does not. Okay, I'm already doing this fight a little poorly. That's what I get for saying it's easy. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I haven't installed the capture app for the webcam, but I probably should. Within Streamlabs settings for the webcam, I can zoom. I just haven't done much preparation. This split is interesting because this top path is just purely optional, but it's where you get Grant, so I want to do it. But like I was saying, Alucard and Sypha play exactly the same in US and Japan, but Grant is very different. His movement's exactly the same, but in Japanese, his main attack is a knife that he throws, whereas in the US, it is it's a little dagger with very little range. He just stabs forward. He's very useful offensively in Japanese, and almost entirely useless for that in the US version. And while it's a little broken, I think it's really fun to be able to just throw. It's basically the dagger sub-weapon that his name's Trevor. Simon in the first game, Trevor in the third game. Trevor can get a knife sub-weapon that's essentially the same as his knife, but he can't throw it like Grant can. This reminds me that I need to finish watching the Castlevania Netflix show. I watched the first 3 seasons. It's very good, but I'm not very good at keeping up with shows, so I haven't seen season 4. Although I'm excited for the next thing they're doing, because I don't think they've announced too many details, but it'll involve adapting part of Castlevania Rondo of Blood and Symphony of the Night, 2 of my favorite games in the series. Rondo is my favorite of the classic games, and Symphony is tied for my favorite of the Metroidvania games in the Castlevania series. This wheel can be difficult. Wheels in general are a little fiddly. You gotta get used to when to jump on and off of them. Was that not breakable? I thought it was. What does that give you? I don't know the candles or breakable walls nearly as well in this game as the first. I played this one quite a bit, but not nearly as much as Castlevania 1. I've beaten Castlevania 1, I think, well over 100 times. This game I've probably beaten in like a dozen times, maybe. And like, in general, I know the sort of basic tips and tricks, but I do not have the details nearly as well down. Easy to jump too early on that specific gear, hog, whatever you want to call it. Oh, I should have gotten up like an hour earlier and made breakfast like I intended to. Because even once I realized I had to get up earlier than I thought, I set my alarm That's a part I often die on, because if you jump too early, you'll hit the side of the block and you won't actually go through. So I set my alarm for 10. I didn't actually end up getting up till 11:30. I should have seen that coming. I should have whipped. If I'd gotten up at 11:30, I would have, or 10:30, I would have had time to make my breakfast like I usually do. The last 2 weeks. I said last time or the time before. It would have been last time. I'd make myself bacon and cheese bagel sandwiches, and it's been very nice. But obviously I have to wake up for that. It takes some amount of time to do. Ugh, go away, knife. Wall chicken. I know a bunch of the wall chicken locations. I don't think I know them all. Whereas I know them all in the first game. I know every breakable wall, I think, in the first game, except for hard mode has some bonus ones that I don't know as well. Yeah, like I was saying, the bosses are not that hard in this game. Clearly not for a while. But that's Grant. Evil Grant, I guess. Spoiler alert, because he's about to transform back. I don't know what he actually says. I don't remember, and I usually play the Japanese version. Basically, Dracula killed his family, and he wants revenge. So he offers to come with us. Yeah. The top one is take him with you. The bottom one is don't take him with you. If I really focus for a second, I could read that, because that's in hiragana, but I don't need to. I just remember that it's take him with you and don't take him with you. So the shorter one is what I want. Even though it looks kind of like Trevor shakes his head, like as if he's saying no, but it's confirmation. And basically, I just play as Grant for most of the game. There are parts where it's worth switching to Trevor. Generally, Grant is just better. Including in some boss fights, where he makes it trivial. Of course, I do want to keep that, holy water. And yeah, also, Grant can stick to walls. Getting low crevices like that, not that that's useful, but he takes more damage than Trevor, if I remember correctly, but it usually doesn't matter much. Ow. Oh. On this part, since you're going back through the same level, you can drop down, but you have to be careful not to drop down in the wrong place, because there are places with spikes. Or to drop down too fast and not like have time to react. The sticking to walls is not an automatic thing. You have to hold the D-pad in the direction of the surface you're on, like perpendicular to it. So I'm holding up right now. I have to transition to holding right to go on the side there. Get this one up. It takes some real getting used to like corner like that. It's really easy to fall when trying to switch from corner to corner, switch from surface to surface. That I'm already not the best at speaking normally, and I am tired, so I am less coherent. In the Angry Video Game Nerds review of this game, he says that the worst enemy of I guess Trevor's worst enemy, your worst enemy as a player, are the stairs. And yeah, some of the stair sections are quite difficult, since you can't jump on the stairs. You can attack, but you're limited, obviously. I don't want to do this. I want to go left first, because I don't want to risk dying on the here and just drop right here. But all of the stairs sections have like a way that you can get through it. And most of them I have memorized. Also, Grant has full midair control, whereas Trevor is locked into whatever jump he makes. And it's really interesting that Grant is given this ability. For one, it shows that the locked jump arcs of the Belmonts is not just a technical quirk, at least not in this game. It's intentional. Which is a thing that I think several reviewers kind of ignore or don't realize. And they're basically just acting like it's a technical flaw that you are locked in your jumps. But it is an intentional thing. Doesn't mean you have to like it, but it's not like I think I don't remember if Grant actually gets knocked back farther, but it feels like he does. And if I got hit there, I would have gotten into the pit. I got a life though. Pretty cool. Hard to time your jumps to hit candles in midair like that. God, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. The lack of midair control with the Belmonts is totally an intentional thing. It's just another design choice to make the game harder. Oh, that scared me. I forgot that there's just safe land down here. I believe the only sub-weapons that Grant can have are the axe and the stopwatch. In the US version, he can get the knife as well, because his knife is not normally... he can't throw it in the US version. I can't get that hard, because as soon as I approach it... and I could have done it if I just jumped from a little farther. But as soon as you get close, it triggers the cutscene if I'm walking to the door. Oh my god, I can't speak. I think the stiff controls make the... I really like the way it feels once you get used to it. It can be very difficult to get used to. I'm actually going to switch to Trevor this part. Although this is like ideal with Trevor with the axe. But you can just, each time one of them is on screen, the eyes, just jump and whip with good timing. Or this one, don't jump, just whip. And you can kill the owls without them hitting you. I don't want the cross! Stop giving me the cross! Cross is good! Because the Holy Water is not as broken in this game, there's a lot more reason to use the other sub-weapons, especially the cross and... the axe. And they're both real good in the first game as well. It's just, all of the bosses are destroyed by the Holy Water, except Dracula. Although his second form is. As I was calling before, the Cookie Monster, which is an Angry Video Game Nerd reference. I didn't explain that 2 streams ago. Oh, well. No, I want that. I think I'm gonna go ahead and switch back. Time is frozen while you're switching, which you can actually abuse in one of the later boss fights. But, speaking of abuse, using the knife is so good. I can just attack from a distance. Which normally is not this easy, and normally I don't do it at all in Castlevania because I never use the knife. It's by far my least favorite sub-weapon in every game, I think. Symphony of the Night and Harmony of Dissonance have a couple weird sub-weapons that I don't tend to use much either. Symphony has one called the Agunia or something, and I don't exactly know what it is. It kind of looks like a gun in the sprite, but it's like a lightning weapon. I'm gonna go the easy path, which is up here. That bottom path leads to the hard path and the normal path. That bird's gonna come back. Yeah. Oh! God damn it. And, it's not like I was gonna do this without dying. But I'm a little bummed that I lost the Holy Water there. It's easy to accidentally cling to a wall in that kind of situation where you're walking up against a platform with a gap below it. Because the game just kind of assumes you want to climb on it. Which is why you have to be cautious when approaching platforms like that. I just forgot. Oh, this game is fun though. It's the first Castlevania game to incorporate non-linear ideas into a more traditional game. Because obviously Castlevania 2 is non-linear, but it's more experimental in general. But the branching paths and, like, the stages are linear. There's no optional paths within the stages like Rondo of Blood does later. The branching paths is pretty cool. You get to pick what path you want to take, and they are notably different in difficulty. You do more stages in the other two paths as well. The hard and medium paths start at different places in the castle. Each path starts at a different stage in the castle when you get to Castlevania, Dracula's castle. Oh. No, I don't think you can drop there because there's no gap, but I was still scared. I can break this, can't I? No. Okay. The medium path does one additional level because you start in the basement of the castle. And the hard path does 2 additional levels because you start lower in the basement. For this dude, in this version, you can just do this. I don't know why he glowed green like that and took a bunch of damage at once. Did I, like, time that well or something? I've never seen that. Not only in the US version can you not throw the knife, but they also changed the way the Cyclops' pattern works. He won't just run back and forth at a distance, or just run back and forth in general. He'll charge you more readily than in the Japanese one. This is Sypha. She is a magic wielder, although the game doesn't acknowledge that she's female until the end. If you beat the game with her, she takes her hood off, and she has long blonde hair. But otherwise the game treats her as male because it's supposed to be a secret. Trevor's, the way he shakes his head no is very over the top. But I'm gonna keep Grant the whole way. Board this ghost ship. It has 2 bosses, as you can see by the picture. I have lost my train of thought again. Oh, I did want to say, shit. Their range is very long. These, I don't remember if it's their actual name, but they're based on Dullahan, the mythical Gaelic thing. There's a boss based on that in Rondo of Blood. And I believe they have the same name, though I might be wrong. I wanted to say that Grim Guardian's Demon Purge, the game that I've mentioned a couple times, came out yesterday. And I played some with my roommate. It was very fun. I was expecting it to be more Metroidvania than it at least is so far. It's kind of like a perfect middle ground between Metroidvania and the classic Castlevania games. It's obviously very Castlevania inspired, which makes sense. Inti Creates also made the Bloodstained Curse of the Moon games, which are companion games to the Metroidvania game Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, that are more inspired by Castlevania 3, in particular, this one. With characters that you switch between somewhat non-linear levels and progression. I haven't actually played the second Curse of the Moon, and I've only finished the first one once. But they're both, I assume they're both very fun, because the first one is very fun. Gotta remember to speak within the bounds of what I actually know. This is a part that's good to climb the ceilings on. You can just completely skip that part. It goes all the way to the right and then back, just like the same section, the same kind of section in the first game. But with Grant, obviously, you can just completely go around it. Very useful. And that kind of thing is still something he can do in the US version, so he's still a worthy addition to your team. I think he's still my favorite, though it just means that I don't play as him. It means that I don't play as him instead of Trevor, I just swap to him occasionally. Another downside of the US version, there's two more. One is that the music is compressed, because for the Japanese version, they actually introduced, like, they added additional, like, I don't remember the details. It's like an extra sound chip in the cartridge that gives the game more sound channels. And they didn't replicate that for the US version. They just, like, made their own music for it. It's the same songs, but just, like, compressed and lower quality. By the way, this fight is an absolute joke if you have, Grant. I have a video on my channel of me beating Medusa like this as a little clip I recorded a couple years ago. But... and also, there's a very tiny amount of censorship in weird ways, like the cross in the first level is exactly the same in the US version, but it doesn't have the, like, rays of light shooting off from it, which is a bizarre change. Like, it's not the religious iconography that's the problem, it's that it's glowing. But, God, what was the other thing? There's one more thing I was gonna say about the US version. Oh, enemy damage is different. In the US version, all enemies within a level deal the same amount of damage, and the damage you take is based on what level you're in, which is how it works in Castlevania 1. Whereas in this game, in the Japanese version, I'm gonna say it stupidly every time, specific enemies deal the exact same damage no matter where you are in the game. Which, obviously, a lot of people prefer that. It makes more logical sense. I don't know if that's actually a technical limitation, or if they just decided to change that for some reason. I forget this isn't a platform. It's a background element. There's stuff down there, but I don't care. Just gonna skip over it again. Is this a heart? And once again, I'm just gonna crouch over here. This fight is a combination of the mummies, the boss from the first game, and Cyclops. If I remember correctly, it's just him again. In this version, you can just do this. In US, their bandages also fly in a different pattern. They don't go straight forward. They, like, move up and down, which makes them way harder to counter. Where's this the devil? No, it's just the Cyclops. You fight the devil later when you do all three of them. I don't even remember what level that's in, though, so I might not be doing that. And there we go. You know what to do, and or have Grant. Most of the bosses are really easy. That looks like it'll deal damage when it explodes like that, but it doesn't. I guess it's worth pointing out that it might sound weird that they'd have to replicate the additional stuff in the cartridge when they bring the game here, but it's because the NES and its equivalent in Japan, the Famicom, don't use the same cartridges. The US cartridges are much larger, I assume just to accommodate the NES is a different design than the Famicom is. The NES was redesigned to look more like a VHS. A VCR. A VHS VCR specifically, I guess, but not... Distinction doesn't matter. Oh my god, I can't reach him from here. I should go back. Oh my god. Everything's falling apart now. But, the NES came out in the US just 2 years after the video game crash of 1973. So the industry was not doing well here. And they redesigned... People just weren't really interested in buying video game consoles. So they redesigned the NES and marketed it as an entertainment system, which is why it's called the Nintendo Entertainment System. They made it look more like a VCR. Ugh. I'm not remembering how to do this well. They made it look more like a VCR, had it load from the front with a little door that opens. And they refrained from using game-specific terminology in their marketing. Like, they never say console or cartridge. They call the NES console itself the control deck. And game cartridges are game packs. So they still use the word game. They weren't like entirely hiding it, but they were just trying to get away from the existing terminology to assuage fears about game consoles. I should mute my phone. Always forget to do that. There we go. Oh, if I got hit a second later, that'd be real bad. Yeah, I just think that's an interesting bit of history. But it led to, like, some logical consequences. Like, they had to essentially remake the cartridges when they came here. They couldn't just, like, produce a different shell. Because the Super Nintendo looks almost exactly like Super Famicom. There are slight differences. And the cartridges look very similar. They're just slightly different shape. Shit. No, the cartridges are more blocky, less rounded in the US. And I think that was just sort of like a perceived cultural difference, that we would prefer the sort of blocky stuff that's very 80s. But the NES is basically what pulled the US out of the video game crash. It was a huge success. It wasn't even originally going to come out here. They did a test market release in, like, San Francisco, I think? And it blew away all expectations, because even more so than consumers, after the crash, stores didn't want to sell video games. Because they'd had to liquidate, it had to... God, I don't know the terminology well. No one wanted to buy video game consoles. And so a lot of companies lost money on the stock that they bought before the crash. Yeah, it's interesting. So when Nintendo originally shopped around for companies to buy product of the NES in the US, they didn't want to. It wasn't until they did a test market and it showed interest from the public that companies got on board. Which is crazy to me, the idea that it would come out in one... that a console that is now a major thing would come out in just one city first. Yeah, exactly. The video game industry has grown, has grown tremendously. And a lot of that happened in the 90s, because while the NES and Super Nintendo were a big thing, they were still relatively niche. The PlayStation and then the PS2 just brought gaming into the mainstream in a way it had never quite been. I want to switch to Grant because he's really useful in this part. Although it's not like I'm underselling the success of the NES, Super Nintendo, and Sega Genesis, but the PlayStation has sold what, like 150 million units. I don't remember what the NES sold. Different scales though, because the industry has basically just grown over time. The PS4 and the Switch, I think, both launched as the fastest selling consoles of all time. PS5 and Xbox One X didn't sell that quickly, but a lot of that's due to like supply chain issues caused by the pandemic and like the chip shortage, which I think was a result of the pandemic. But all of that together has just sort of stymied the sales of those consoles. Although they're still doing okay, especially the PS5, but not as well as the PS4 did, or the Switch is doing, even though it's been affected by the shortage too. Oh. But, another fun fact, I guess, aside from the Wii and the Switch, all Nintendo home consoles have trended downwards in sales. The NES sold more than the Super Nintendo, which sold more than the N64, which sold more than the GameCube, which sold more than the Wii U. The Wii was a huge runaway success that, in part because it captured a non-gamer audience, which is a thing that the video game industry had never done before. And of course now that audience is mostly taken in by like mobile games. That was not an audience they could grab twice, which is why the Wii U did not do nearly as well. They tried to rely too heavily on the same kind of marketing and strategies, and it didn't work. Which has worked out great, though. What I like to do is just get back here. You can still easily get hit by his attacks, but you're blocked from the ones that fall from the ceiling. It's just the ones that he throws that'll be an issue when you're over here. But if you're fast enough, then you won't get more than a couple attacks out. Nice. Ugh. The Wii itself is officially discontinued, and the shop is like completely down now. For a while, you could still download like some things, including the Skyward Sword. I don't remember what it's called. Save file repair channel, which, since they couldn't patch games on the Wii, was a way to fix a game-breaking glitch in Zelda Skyward Sword, where you download the channel, the application, because they're called channels in the Wii, obviously, the whole TV styling, and it would fix your save file. But I think recently it's just completely gone down. And Nintendo didn't announce that it was entirely gone, but that it was, but it went down, and it doesn't seem like they're gonna bring it back up. And then there's also the Wii U and 3DS eShops are shutting down on March 27th for new purchases. You'll still be able to re-download stuff, but you won't be able to buy anything new, which is a bummer because there's still a lot of games that are on the Wii U and 3DS that have not been put on the Switch yet. And there are some digital-only games that have never been put anywhere else. So whatever ones you don't get by March 27th will be gone. It's always a bummer when a digital storefront shuts down. Digital games are really convenient, but it's sad because, like, And it's understandable from the companies because it takes resources to keep servers up and run a platform. And when there's not enough interest or sales, then it's just sort of money going down the drain as far as they see. Like, archiving is not really the priority of game companies. Their job is to make money, so it's not an unreasonable decision from their position. It's still a huge bummer. Like, I'm amazed that the 360's store is still open. I think it's mostly just a time thing. But, the Switch is certainly very convenient, and especially now that they are releasing more games on NSO, the Virtual Console was a big push for the Wii and Wii U. And now that's sort of getting replaced, although not exactly the same, because you don't own the games on NSO, which initially really bothered me, but I've just sort of gotten used to the sort of subscription model. This boss is also a bit different in the US version. The fire is different. It's like a straight line, whereas here it curves to point at where you are. It means it's a little harder in this version, actually, despite the game generally being easier. Although I think the range is actually higher for the fire in the US. Oh, this is... It's not great when they appear like that. It's a little hard to position yourself well in this fight. Once there's only one left, it's not bad, because then you can just easily avoid him, but when they appear on both sides of the main platform, it's really hard to avoid getting hit. I just tanked a couple hits there. But, like I was saying, I'm still surprised that the 360's Xbox store is still going. Because while you can buy a lot of games from the 360 store, while a lot of the games in the 360 store you can buy on the Xbox One, not all of them. And it's really cool that's still up, because the 360 launched in 2005. That is a very long time for a digital storefront to stay up. Technically, Steam's been up longer, but that's different, because PC's not a generational thing. Well, it kind of was, but not really anymore. If you wait too long to go this way, then platforms... Oh, chugging the Red Bull is making me burp. But if you wait too long for those platforms, then they might be too low by the time you get over here. If you're not Grant, then you can't easily get on that platform. I think there's ball chicken that way, but I don't care. It's fine. Getting up here is difficult, especially if you stop to get these candles, because they'll just sort of build up there. Also, in the US version, this enemy looks different. In this game, it's the equivalent of the, like, Fleamen enemies from the first game, but they look different. Whereas in the US, they actually look exactly the same. For whatever reason, they just didn't use a new sprite like they did in this version. I don't know if this is a great idea. You share health between characters. I don't think it... Oh, yeah, I forgot I still have the upgraded whip. So that was good. There's another part that you can skip with Grant. Basically, if any wall does not continue all the way up, it means you can go over it. What? Why did that fall down there? I have no idea why that double shot appeared down there. I'm gonna watch that back and see what happened. Oh, I love the music in this game. Oh. It's a little difficult to... Whoa! I was in the block for a second, that freaked me out. It's a little difficult to notice that the music has more depth than a normal NES game. But when you compare the two versions, it's pretty obvious. I don't remember what these whip skeletons are called. They're similar to enemies later in the series. I think one of them is called fake Simon, and it's just an enemy pretending to be Simon Belmont. This part you gotta move quickly, because if you're, if you get pinched between a block in the top of the screen, you're dead. And the blocks slowly break, but you can just jump to delay that. Barely made that. I gotta remember that I still have a mute button if I need to cough. I'm not really sick at all anymore, but I still have a bit of a cough. Even just general, like, coughing is normal. I'm still gonna cough occasionally, even if I'm not in any way sick or recovering from being sick. This is the triple. Yeah, it is this level. I couldn't remember. So I'm gonna just sit back here, do the same thing again. If they get really close and use their projectiles a lot, then occasionally they'll get through, since you can only attack so fast. But usually, you'll just kill them without taking a hit. The last section of this trio is a bit of a challenge, though. So it's not a complete gimme just because I have Grant. Sypha and Alucard can also be really good for certain parts. Alucard can turn into a bat and fly around. Sypha has elemental magic she can use, which can impact the stages. Stages that have water, the water can be frozen by her ice spell, for instance. And they both have sub-weapons that can be useful. This is, I think he's called Satan. That's just his name. I want to drop down. Oh, here. He shoots fireballs, he jumps around. Every third jump is a big jump. If you need to get around him, that's a useful time for that. And after the big jump, he'll throw fireballs. Yeah, I was gonna get there. You can just sort of take your time, but it takes a while to kill him that way. Right now, it actually probably better to switch to Trevor, but I like having the control. Because Trevor's whip deals more damage than the knife. I was just seeing a message. Because my watch is connected to my phone right now, but not on my hand, I can just look over at my watch charging and read a message, like on Discord. Weird indirect sort of thing. Here we are, in Dracula's Castle proper. The previous level had the new map, but it was still, like, getting to the entrance to Dracula's Castle. Now we're in the castle, and so it has the Castle Hall area that's common in the series, including the first level of the first game. The only part of the first level in the first game that doesn't take place here is the beginning, where you're in the path leading to the door. What is the boss this level? I think this level is the one that has the boss that you can abuse character switching on, and I'm going to, because it's fun. These platforms look like the ones that flip around, but they don't. I like these spike pits with skeletons on them. It reminds me... No, I think I want the axe. The axe is better for death. And it lets me kill them right there, so that's cool. I think I'm gonna play primarily as Trevor right now. I'm not sure. No, I'm gonna switch to Grant. Getting around will be easier with him in the fight. I realize, I think it's actually Death is the boss fight here. I changed my thinking without saying anything about it. These slimes are basically from Castlevania 2. Oh, they can climb up. I forgot about that. Ow! I should have killed them. They're real annoying. Real persistent. With the axe armors, you can just stand still. Your standing whip or knives will hit both the upper and lower axes that he throws. Oh, I want to get away. Oh, once you touch the stairs there. Yeah. Death is right here. He's about to be. I almost just walked straight off the edge because I was looking at my tablet. I have hearts to spare, and I kind of want the triple shot, so I'm gonna use it on these candles. Hoping I get one. But now I can't afford to. Because, you move, like, just barely faster, so if you waste too much time, you'll fall. I only have half health. This is not ideal. Oh, that's not ideal either. That was a unlucky spawn with the sides. Oh, shit. Yeah, everything deals 4 hits. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. If you break that wall without a sub-weapon, it just drops hearts. But if you break it with one, it gives you the double shot. I get one more try after this. After that, if I die again, if I die twice more, that'll be my first game over, which is not bad. A bunch of these candles drop sub-weapons, including the stopwatch, which I really didn't want. I should not have been breaking those. Can the stopwatch work on Death? Nope. It is completely useless. Great. Glad that's there. Ugh, it's really hard to avoid. I really wish this stopwatch at least... oh, I'm still alive. Not anymore. I wish the stopwatch at least stopped the fucking projectiles. Now the question is... No, I want the axe. I was gonna say, the question is... Do I want the axe with Grant? Because if I break that with Trevor, I get the cross, which is also good. But no, for his second form, I want the axe. I want to break them with the axe, because if I can break 10 of them, I'll get the triple shot, which would be very useful. If it works like that, I guess it doesn't. Ah, come on. In the first game, if you break 10 candles with... a useful strategy is if you, like, stand still... If you, like, stand here, bait them to come at you, and then just walk forward, they'll go to the spot you were at, you can just drop down. He can still summon the sides, but they're not nearly as much of a hazard in this stage of the fight. Oh, I'm out of hearts, it doesn't matter, I won. Nice. I like posing, because as soon as you touch the orb, you freeze. Whereas in the first game, you freeze after, like, a little bit of time. You have some time, so I usually just jump around and whip. to see when it'll freeze me. I like posing at the end of Castlevania levels. Oh, this song is used in the final fight of Castlevania: The Adventure Rebirth. And in that, when the fight starts, you have Dracula has a little speech that he says, very briefly. But that just popped into my head once I heard the song. Oh, I don't have the upgraded whip, though. But usually the whip is better for these guys. Because it has, or at least I don't know the pattern, like the exact timing of the knife well enough. The time hits here. I believe in the Japanese version, I've beaten this game with all 4 companion possibilities. I've beaten it with all 3 of the companions and without any. In the US version, I think I've only beaten it with Grant and maybe I've also beaten it with Alucard. I've not beaten the game with Sypha or just Trevor, I don't think. If I looked on the PS5, my trophies I could see, because the Japanese versions don't count for achievements, which feels a little weird, but... well, for one, the original release of the collection didn't have the Japanese versions. That was added after, if I remember correctly, which it's been a while. The collection came out like 2018, I think. This part, both spikes here are insta-kill, so an abundance of caution is good. That water is just a little signal that there's water up ahead, because there's water draining from these channels. I know it's just one big waterfall, I was thinking of a different part. Generally with these parts, if you just like pay attention to where they're shooting, then you can either just go as quickly as possible like I did earlier, or just like weave your way between shots. Oh, that was not ideal. This part, you really want to go as soon as you can. Oh, not too bad though. Because I think there's wall chicken up ahead. And in Castlevania 2 and 3, like I said, if you can just hold the whip button to whip continuously on stairs. Only on stairs. Now there's no wall chicken right here. Just a heart. Oh, my tablet is dying. I haven't charged it in several days. I'm trying to think, because I'll probably finish this in the next hour. It shouldn't take me as long as it takes me to get this far, just to get to the last 2 levels. Oh no, not like that. And I don't... It'd feel kind of weird to just start another run of this game. If this went by faster, then I could have done that. If you go up too high here, by the way, you'll die. Or you can, at least. I don't remember exactly what will kill you, but... Oh! So you gotta be careful being overzealous like I currently am. Oh. And also just be cautious, because the enemies don't usually appear the instant their platform does. Usually like a second after, like the next step. And that can be a problem. This is another part that AVGN complained about in his review. AVGN, short for Angry Video Game Nerd, basically. But it's not too bad. I guess his main complaint was more just like, in Trevor Belmont's world, what killed him? The screen? That's almost an exact quote of one of the things he says. This part's a bit tough. Because you got the merman. Oh, I almost just fell off. Died in a stupid way. But you got the merman and the bats, which if you have Grant, you can just go this way. and ignore the rest of that part. Careful jumping here, because once you start jumping, you gotta keep jumping. Oh, I only survived because I was playing as Grant, and I still almost died. Heart. Okay, this is the fight, and I'm gonna abuse the switching. Both because it's fun, and because I'm just low on health and don't have much choice, because I definitely get hit otherwise. What you want to do is hit him, switch. He'll reform into your other character. Hit him, switch. Ooh. This is not going... Oh, I switched too early. If you time it really well, then he'll have no chance to hit you. Although he can usually move just a little bit. So I'm gonna have to transition. Oh. Is he gonna... Yeah, you don't want to switch while he's in the middle of switching, because he can... While he's in the middle of transitioning, he can still switch. So right now he's gonna turn into Trevor. Ah, oh, too early. It's hard to actually get a hit with Grant. It's much easier with Trevor because of the sort of persistence of the whip. Occasionally you can also get him to like glitch through the floor. I don't actually remember what happens if you do that. But I've done this fight legitimately. I don't always cheese it like this. But I think this is a fun way to do it, so... it's slow, but I find it satisfying, and it's just safe. If I had more health, I would be less quick to use it. As I said, I'm being really repetitive right now. Even more than normal. Yeah, the screen freaks out when he dies. The sprite, like, flies all around. Bits of the sprite do, at least. Oh, just one level left. Unless I'm forgetting something. No, yeah, just one level left. Oh, I gotta stretch. Oh, but I gotta pause first, because there's a bat on screen as soon as this level starts. I really like this level. Oh, but this goes into my big actual complaint with the US version of the game. In the Japanese version, you get a checkpoint at the Dracula fight. It's not a continue point like the first game. You get a game over, you'll still get reset here, but there's a checkpoint. In the US version, if you die at Dracula, you get set back to the previous checkpoint and have to get through a third of the stage again. Which is bullshit. You never have to redo, like, Dracula is always a checkpoint in the series. Castlevania, the US version of Castlevania 3 is, like, the only time that ever happens. And it's bullshit, because you get there, you got there, you should get at least as many tries as you have lives before you get set back again. That's stupid. And I don't know why they did it. If it was intentional, then it's just to make it harder, I assume. Grant makes this part easier, as always. Yeah, I'll stick with him. No, wrong part. I want to actually be Trevor for this, I think. There's other weirder changes that don't make much sense at all in the US version. Like, this candle is different. I think it's a 1-up in the US version, but it's a cross here. That's another part that AVG complained about. The platform's breaking while there's an enemy there. And yeah, it's a bit tough, but you just basically move while attacking him. It's not unreasonable. That's holy water, which I don't want, but I want the meat! Oh, okay, good. I just barely got that in time. Grant. Can he go up there? I think so. That's a high jump to make. No, he can't. Shit. Oh, I do want to beat him for the axe. The axe is useful Or up ahead. Very useful to kill him. If you don't have the axe, it's very hard. If you go from the left there, you can get up here. This is not advisable. Stupid. But so that door back there is where you'll get set back to if you die in the US version of the game. Ugh, I'm playing worse than I was earlier, but it's okay. The final fight's not that hard. It's another thing that's different. They made the final boss fight harder. They made Dracula's projectiles larger. I keep saying the US version. I don't know what other like regional versions are different. I assume a lot of them are just like the US version. I think I just want to get... I'm going to switch to Trevor. Because Dracula's first form... There's a high chance I'm going to die here. I'm not very good against Dracula's first form specifically. I'm much better against the later forms. I'm going to grind for a bit to get hearts. And hopefully... Well, not hearts. To get the double shot, triple shot. But... his first form, I find it harder to dodge. And I think I can only take... I don't think I can take one hit. I think he deals 4 damage. It's interesting to think about. I just realized that the Mega Man series and the Castlevania series give you the exact same amount of health, so that's 16. Or at least traditionally. Almost all platformer Mega Man games have you start with 16 health. But I don't know how the later Castlevania games treat health. But in 1, 2, and 3, you have... Well, 2 is weird because it goes up over time as you level up. But in 1 and 3, you have 16 distinct units like that. Wall Chicken restores 6. You want to keep... Oh, don't do that. Oh, you can take... He only deals 2 damage? That's crazy. He'll... Oh, shit. I should have moved to the right before turning around. That was just stupid. But I get 2 more tries before I get set back. That's pretty cool. I want cross, which that gives you. You don't have a lot of time. I mean, it's already down to 285 out of 300. Which they're not seconds, obviously. Oh, they're actually much closer to seconds than in some other NES games. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, they're totally seconds. Get it. In Punch-Out, the seconds on the counter are more like thirds of a second. I didn't realize this game's timer was actually fairly accurate. I think it's a little fast. I apologize. I'm just grinding here, but it's a real help. Hi. Oh, I'm sorry. Like I was saying, you don't have a lot of time, so like I probably shouldn't grind to get the triple shot with both Grant and Trevor, but I at least want the triple shot cross for the first phase. But I'd really like to have the triple shot axe for the second phase. So I might actually just grind the triple shot with both. Just gonna be running up against the end of the time limit there. Because you can get the cross there from that far left candle with Trevor, and with Grant it'll drop the axe. Very useful. I have a lot of hearts now. I don't think how long the fight normally takes. When I'm this well equipped, it might not take that long. and I'll have max hearts, so I'll be able to just spam like crazy. Oh, come on, drop a double shot. Yeah, I'll take the double shot. I don't want to waste more time. I've already spent almost half the time limit just grinding. He'll summon the 2 fire pillars, and then after a second, he'll summon a 3rd. There he summoned the 2 in the same spot, I think, is what happened. The triple shot cross is pretty good for this. Oh, that's very good, in fact. I'm gonna use Grant for this part. Because the axe is better. The triple shot would be great for this. But this in this orientation, cross is even better, I think. Now that it's higher up, I want to switch to the axe. I love this fight, by the way. And the fact that you can get the cross and the axe between Grant and Alucard, between Grant and Trevor. I don't know why I'm messing up on Trevor's name. Be careful. In this stage of the fight, the platforms detach. And if you're standing on them, you'll just fall, I think. It's been a while, so I don't remember for sure, but pretty sure. But these laser attacks are way bigger in the US version. The cross is pretty good for this too, but the axe lets me hit from lower and from farther away. Nice. I usually just wait. Don't try to cross the gap because I might just fall in the pit and die like an idiot. Just gonna wait. Platforms will return. All cool. Then I'll get the orb. Nice. Beat the shit out of that boss. Nice. The ending cutscene's a little different, obviously, depending on who's with you. Grant cheers a little bit. I realize you can't see the left side of my webcam because I have it pushed off because it's wider. I decided to do that instead of cover the game. Obviously, that won't matter once I get the green screen set up. Also, if you couldn't tell, my roommate got home early. I didn't see her messages. Oh, that was cool. Oh, I think I'm gonna switch games next. I think I'll just go straight to Castlevania 4. It's not a Let's Play, so there's no need to be ridiculously thorough. And SC4 has a password system, so it won't exactly be too difficult to do that. To come back next time, because I'm not going to finish all of SC4 in 47 minutes. It's not that hard compared to like Castlevania 3, but it's also got a lot more levels. The names are poorly translated. Sypha Velnumdes. It's Belnades in English generally, although it's believed to be based on the name Fernandez. Bedenandesu is just how kind of Japanese does it. Grant Danusty, which is a terrible fucking name, and it's even worse than his actual name of Grant Dynasty, which I didn't mention at all, I didn't think to. Alucard's name is perfectly well translated. Technically, the T and the S there should have little diacritics below them, because they're not normal T's and S, normal T and normal S. It's like a Dracula 3 that it says there. It's a Romanian thing. Starring Ralph Belmond. Whatever. It's Belmondo, the official spelling. In Japan. Obviously in the US they're called Belmonts. Yeah. Like that in the first game I was like, why would I sit through the credits? And now I sat through the credits in 2 and 3. Oh, what is that? Got a notification. Oh. Fun. U.S. National Weather Service. issued a winter weather advisory. Okay. Yeah, so that's Castlevania 3. It starts in hard mode, but I don't feel like doing that. So I apologize for how stupid this screen looks, because I have it set up for the 4x3 game display. Which, SE4 has the same kind of window as the NES games. Yeah. Make sure my controls are set up well. They should be. Not where controls are. Oh my god. Oh, I can't! Because the game has more controls. It has like the 4 face buttons like a Super Nintendo. Also, it has in-game controls. That's a bigger. Yeah. B. Yeah, it's set up exactly how I'd want it to be. Sound test. It's B. It says B. I realize it's not set up the way I want for Xbox button names. Like, A will be jump. X will be whip. Because it's using the SNES names. The SNES button names. I'm gonna name... This is Simon Belmont in the 4th game again. I'm gonna name him... Simone. This game's really fun, though. It's, different from every other Castlevania game. Mainly in that it has not only slightly multi-directional, but full 8-direction whipping. As well as the whip waggle that people like. I was just watching, or listening to, well, is a video on YouTube, but it was just an audio podcast, but I was listening to it, and they talked about their top 10 favorite NES games. I actually didn't finish it. I don't know what their top 3 are, but SC4 was on there, Super Castlevania 4, and they talked about how they like the whip waggle, and it's quite funny. I like to try to fight the fall here. As the slope gets larger and larger, it starts to pull you faster and faster. And at the end, it pulls you very quickly. You can also moonwalk on flat stairs by just holding diagonally, like up left if you want to moonwalk up, and down right if you want to moonwalk down. Fun. If you hold the jump button, you stick in place, which is not super useful. Honestly, that's a little more useful in Rondo, but still not a game changer by any means. The multi-directional whipping, though, is a game changer. It completely changes the way you approach enemies. It makes you just more powerful in general. It's much easier to counter enemies without having to use sub-weapons. The sub-weapons are still very useful. It's just more a matter of quickly killing bosses and hitting enemies from the edge of the screen, rather than being a main way of how you fight enemies, like it is in 1 and 3. Especially 1. And because of the multi-directional whipping... Ow. Hit there. The item is actually on a separate button instead of being activated by pressing up attack, which is standard. And that's useful, because it means you will never accidentally do it. Although it's not... I don't have much issue of accidentally doing it in Classic Series, just because I've gotten used to up attack being a sub-weapon. To the point that generally I prefer when it's not on a separate button. I actually want to cross. Shit. But I wanted the meat, so I got hit anyway. It didn't really matter much. I'm probably not going to die, so I should have gotten the cross. This holy water? I don't remember. There's a bunch you can do also. You can also crouch walk. Something I'm not as into is how big Simon is on the screen. The whip is also big. You can whip across like a quarter of the entire screen, which is very useful. You can crouch under the fireballs, by the way, even though they go through your head. But Simon being so big, I don't like as much. The axe was better than the knife. It doesn't matter, though, that much. because the whip is so good, it's not nearly as much of a bummer to grab the wrong sub-weapon. I don't know what to tell you. I don't send out the notifications personally. It's every Friday at noon though. This is the 5th Friday in a row that I've done it. Pretty cool to make that consistent. But and I will probably occasionally stream on other days. Saturday most likely. Although my friends and I do have a shared channel on Twitch, we just haven't used it yet. Twitch.tv/ I think it's just called Mugget, M-U-G-G-E-T. That's what our shared channel on YouTube is also called. We haven't used that either. This part, I like to sort of inch forward and then whip them as they fall. I love the parallax with the... It doesn't seem to be glass, the open window frames. It looks really nice. It's just seeing the background scroll behind it. Parallax in general is an effect that I really like in games. And in real life, too. It's just interesting. It always mystified me staring out of a car door and seeing objects move at different speeds. Which, obviously, it's just a logical consequence of, like, geometry, but it's still, like, not entirely intuitive. At least when you think about it very specifically. If you're not actively thinking, then it just feels normal, but if you focus on it, you're like, no, that's kind of weird. And I like things like that we're used to, but with directed attention, it can still be real weird. But this game is basically a remake of Castlevania 1. Not basically, it really is. In Japan, it has the same title. There are 5 different Castlevania games that have the exact same title in Japan, which is just Akumajo Dracula or Devil's Castle Dracula. All 5 feature Simon Belmont and are essentially just retellings of the same basic story of Simon Belmont's first encounter with Dracula. There are no games that do the Castlevania 2 story again. Nice. Oh, thought he was already dead. There we go, finally. Got a little ahead of myself there. Waggle. Oh. God, I'm still so tired. I have other shit to do today, but I might take a nap after the stream is up. But yeah, you can... the title there, the first 3 characters are kanji that say Aku Majo. The second kanji is just Ma, which means demon. And then the last 5 characters, I guess, are Dracula, written in katakana. I can't read katakana. I can read hiragana. But hiragana is used for Japanese words. Katakana is traditionally used for foreign words, although it can also just be used for, like, emphasis. Like, I was just playing Metroid 1 the other day, and all the text on the save screen, Metroid 1 has a save system in Japan. I was playing the Japanese version. And all the text on the save screen is in katakana, even though some of it are English. Some of them are Japanese words. I like to do that, to kill that dude before I need to get up there. I don't know all the breakable spots in this game either. I know a bunch of them. I know where a bunch of one-ups are and stuff. And I know a bunch of the wall chicken locations, but probably not all of them. Oh. They also have chicken in candles, which is a new thing. Okay. But this game's fun. It feels very snappy. But it's also way less stiff. You can also control yourself in midair. But personally, I prefer Rondo of Blood. Which, if I want to keep going in order of the series, I need to figure out how to record some things. Because the only modern platform that Rondo is on is PS4/5. It's not on Steam. Dracula X is, which is a sort of pseudo-sequel, pseudo-port of Rondo, but I don't... Like, I'll do Dracula X, but I'm gonna do Rondo first, because I'm gonna go in order. Rondo of Blood's one of my favorite games of all time, as well as being my favorite classic Castlevania game. And in case it's not obvious, classic Castlevania game, I specifically mean the Castlevania games that aren't Metroidvania. The ones that are straightforward, linear experiences, rather than being open-ended, exploratory. And the main examples I'm talking about with that are Castlevania Symphony of the Night on the PlayStation 1 and Sega Saturn, and now PSP, PS4, PS5, and then the Game Boy Advance and DS Castlevania games. While the original Game Boy Castlevania games were classic linear platformers, although Castlevania 2 Belmont's Curse, Belmont's Revenge, lets you pick any of the 4 stages in any order you want. Progression through the stages is still fairly linear, and exploration is not a focus. But all the GBA and DS Castlevania games are primarily exploration focused. I don't have even the triple shot. I don't even have a double shot, which is okay. I just did mash, basically. There's Medusa, who has breasts in the Japanese version, and in the US version, they just removed them. They look like pecs. And that's why in the Game Grumps Let's Play the game, they call that boss Medusa. Which I thought was funny, and I think of it every time I do that fight. The water can turn around. If you crouch walk, you perfectly go at the same speed as the water. So you'll stay still if you try to fight it. It's just interesting. I assume it's just reusing the same speed value. I doubt that's specifically on purpose. Ow, a bunch of the enemies in this game, when you kill them, they just have, like, they don't have, like, a death animation. They just immediately, like, flip directions on their sprite and go off the screen. It's not... Yeah, okay, there's a 1-up right there. Oh, he grabs me? I didn't realize he did that. He made me, like, waste a bunch of hearts, I think. Threw them away. I don't think I've ever been grabbed by him before. I have not played this game as much as 1, but I played it more than 3. It's probably, like... Castlevania 1, Rondo, and 4 are probably the classic ones I've played the most. Actually, I'm gonna look at I made a favorites list years ago. I looked at it the other day and I was like, I don't know if I fully still agree with that, but it might be interesting to point out. Also, this music is killer. Yeah, I have my favorite classic Castlevania games, because it feels weird to compare classic and Metroidvania, as Rondo of Blood is my favorite, then Castlevania 1, then Castlevania 3, then 4, which is a bold statement, but I really do love 3. I'm not sure if I like it more than this game, though. That's hard to say. And after that is Bloodlines next, which is the Sega Genesis one. The Adventure Rebirth, which was released on WiiWare. It's an original Wii digital game. It means it's not available officially anymore. And And then Belmont's Revenge, the second Game Boy Castlevania game, which I played a little bit 2 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago. After I beat Castlevania 1, I played it a little bit. That is the axe. And then Simon's Quest, Castlevania 2 is after that. And Dracula X. And Haunted Castle, which is another one of the Castlevania games that has the exact same name. It is essentially the arcade equivalent to Castlevania 1, released in '88. And then Castlevania X68000. It's a game released for the Sharp X68000. It's just called Castlevania, even here. That is another one of those games that has the same title. It got a re-release as Castlevania Chronicles on the PS1, which is the only version I have because I don't own a Sharp X68000. That's an old computer from the early '90s. Old Japan exclusive computer from the early '90s. I don't have that. I do have an MSX, which is another Japanese exclusive PC, because I found one for fairly cheap a couple years ago. That was pretty cool. And then Order of Shadows is next on my favorites, which is a very strange pick, because that is the mobile Castlevania game released in like 2005 on the Java 2M architecture or whatever. I don't own a phone that has that. That's the only game I just emulated, because there's no other way to play it unless I just track down one of those phones, which would be pretty cool, but not right now. But I actually quite like that, at least on an emulator where I can remap the controls to be better. I actually think it's pretty fun. I played through 3 times in a row. Oh, those things can't die. A few years ago. Ow. And next, I have Castlevania Legends, the last Game Boy Castlevania game. And then Castlevania The Adventure, the first Game Boy Castlevania game. And finally, my least favorite classic, according to this years-old list, is Vampire Killer, which is for the MSX2. I haven't played it that much, but what I have played just feels absurdly hard. I mentioned in one of my other streams or videos that you have no continues, none whatsoever. So if you run out of lives, that's it. Restart the whole game, which is brutal, because part of why the Castlevania games are so doable despite being hard is that you generally get unlimited continues. The only games to give you limited continues are Vampire Killer and Bloodlines. And Bloodlines gives you like 3 continues. I barely made that. That was a risky jump. You want to wait for him to pass before you jump there, because otherwise he'll hit you and knock you into the pit. Oh, I don't want to do that. I don't really want to do this either. I don't remember what is in this. Stopwatch. Great. That's a little worse than the knife. But I've only gotten to the 2nd level of 6 in Vampire Killer. That's another one that has same title in Japan. That's one of Simon's games. Very roundabout way, but I did mention all of them, all 5 of them. There we go. There's a good sub-weapon. Finally. But Vampire Killer was never released in the US. It came out in Europe, and that's where it got the name Vampire Killer. That's why I call it that. Normally I'll use the US names, unless the game didn't come out here, then it makes sense to use European name. I could use Japanese names too, there's nothing wrong with that. Aside from the fact that 5 of them have the same name, so that would be a little confusing if I didn't clarify. But at least for those 5... Ugh, I forgot that was the fucking knife. I wanted the cross. Cross is better for this boss fight coming up. Oh. Well, let's see. I had like 42 minutes when I started this game. And I've already made it to near the end of level 3. That's not bad. I had 42 minutes left of the 2-hour stream, is what I was saying. I feel like I often either over-clarify something or just don't explain. Or both. I have not, like, improved at general speaking as much as I would have expected from recording now for a little over 2 months. The axe is better. It's just inconsistent. Where am I? In my house or in the game? I assume in my house? Or where am I in... Can you clarify? It's usually worth just sitting here and hitting him. Sorry, I got completely sidetracked. It's how well I speak and how, like, happy I am with my commentary is very just dependent on how tired I was when I recorded. I have said multiple times that I need to be a bit more aware of, like, how tired I am, because it makes a big difference. If I'm more tired, I speak in circles more, and I'm just generally less coherent. Whereas when I've been more awake, I've had some commentary that I'm actually really, really happy with. But I'm not sure that, like... practicing has definitely helped a bit as well. It's not like it's just purely related to how tired I am. It's not the only factor involved, how good my commentary is. I forgot that I don't press up attack to use sub-weapons. With this, usually I just sit back here and sort of mash whip and sub-weapon. Although, don't mash quite as fervently as I am, because it's not... Oh, shit! I should have just stayed farther away. I ran right back into it. That's my first death in this game. Yeah, first time I've been set back to leather whip. Which that's a feature from the first game that I kind of wish was not in 3 and 4, is the whip upgrades. That part's a little harder with the super whip. You respawn with the leather whip. Reason to go back there, I don't know why I was doing that. And you have to break candles to get the Morningstar item to upgrade your whip. Right now I have the tiny whip. There we go. Yeah, I'm just gonna do the same thing I did last time. Just something like that, and then just hit. Can you please clarify, where are you? What do you mean, where am I? I can just answer all possibilities that I can think of. Within the stream, I'm an hour and 40 minutes into 2 hours. In the game, I'm in level 3 out of 12. It might stay there longer than I mean to. In my house, I'm in my office, which used to be a living room, or a dining room. It's harder to get onto that hook. Specifically. Being unnecessarily ballsy there. Because I find this game to be generally less difficult, I tend to be a little bit more aggressive. And stupid. I tend to be a little more stupid, too. I got a bunch of 1-ups, though. I didn't realize I had 4 1-ups over the default starting 2. Over the default lives. Oh, okay. I see. don't know why I'm going back there. I'm thinking of a different part of the game where there's a handle there. I gotta be a little bit less stupid now if I actually want to beat the level. Oh, I have 4 more tries. It would have been cool to go a little farther without dying. If I'm forward, I better. I don't think he can hit me. He's certainly not likely to. This part, usually it's best to stop right there and whip up to kill that bat. Otherwise, or it's a bird. Oh, I forgot about these birds. Holding the whip out is pretty good because they can just fly into it and get hit. The multi-directional whipping is very fun, but I'm also fine with it only being in this game. The 8 directionals only in this game. There are other Castlevania games where you can whip in a couple other directions. In Castlevania X 68000, you can whip diagonally down. And then in Bloodlines, you can whip straight down and diagonally up, but not the other direction. I'm gonna do the same strategy, just try to be a little less stupid this time. This is not a hard fight, so dying on it is not my best showing. But it's also been a while since I played this game. Honestly, prior to these couple streams, it's been a while since I've played Castlevania, period. Recently I've been playing more Mega Man and Metroid. And it's fine. I have enough health this time to do that, just to walk forward. Because they don't deal that much damage. Last time I just didn't realize how low I was and fucking walked toward them unnecessarily. Nice. Of course, as soon as I started talking about how quickly I was making progress, I died twice. 3 times. Great. How it goes. Overconfidence is my undoing in everything. I love this little skull that follows you at the beginning on the wall. Ah, forgot about a grabby dude. The multi-directional whipping is very useful for killing enemies from a distance, obviously. But like there, that's a situation where I wouldn't be able to kill this dude in any other Castlevania game. But I was able to kill him from below. That one I remember. I forgot how many skulls there were that follow you. It gets to be a little less cool when there's a million of them. Still kind of cool though. I don't think that wall is breakable, although it looks like it would be. Oh, I forgot about him, but it didn't matter. Oh, shit. The timing on those platforms is a little difficult. You have to jump not the instant you land, I think it's a second later. And I just wasn't cautious enough. Yeah, just like that. Not that you can entirely tell by just looking, but it's fine. And now I'm back to default lives. Oh, that scared the shit out of me. If you land next to the platform, it'll still rotate, even if you're not on it. Generally, you want to avoid jumping on those, if at all possible. Wall chicken? Oh, I thought it was. No, that's where the chicken is. It's gonna require a little more focus, this game, because I don't know it as well. Here's the mini-boss. No, this is boss. No, this is a mini-boss. It's the dude that drops almonds from the ceiling. Don't know what they're supposed to be, but they really look like almonds. Oh, I love him. I love the crumbly skull. Yeah, I was like, that's not the end of the stage. Yeah. Got the rotatey bit here. Just sit on the hook and the entire stage rotates below you. It's a weird effect. I don't think this is using mode 7, or maybe it is. I don't remember exactly what all effects require mode 7 on the Super Nintendo. Oh. I'm being stupid. I'm trying to use the waggle unnecessarily. That was a pitiful showing there. Gonna flat up and down. Kill some time as I wait for the stage to rotate. Don't hit those spikes though. Takes a while. There we go. Now is this the 3D rotation? Yeah. Now the stage is rotating in 3 dimensions. This is an interesting example of like false tension, and like it's not a bad thing. These platforms don't fall over time; they fall as they touch the edge of the screen. So it gives the impression that they're falling and you have to hurry, but you don't actually have to. It's manufactured tension's a better term for it. It's interesting. Because when you're going fast, it just feels like you're barely making it in front of it. It's a fun effect. And yeah, at the end here, it's just based on your distance, not time. The crouch walking is very useful in this part. I'll see if I can remember the best way through. I'm gonna... The crouch walking is specifically useful because it lets you get under platforms quicker. Oh, don't. Not for all the candles. See if I can remember how to do this. I think I want to go forward now. Yeah. Look at that. These have big hitboxes, so be careful. Give them ample time. So close. I'm trying to remember. Is there a cross in one of these? No, I think there's an axe in one of these. So I'll just get more hearts. Once you spawn... Actually, you don't even need to spawn him. You can just come down here and just do that. Not visibly there, but he's there enough to get hit. The Bone Pillar, as they're called. Ow. Stupid. Which boss? Oh, it's the block throwy guy. The Stone Golem. I don't know what his actual name is. That might be his actual name. It's easy to get hit by all his stuff. Actually quite hard to dodge his falling blocks. Usually doesn't matter too much, because generally you'll deal damage faster than him. He shrinks as you hit him. You're like breaking him apart. Oh, I thought he was dead. Oh, I almost died. A damn fool, thought I was already done. Oh, I like that sprite rotation too. I like that pose. Oh, I'm making decent-ish progress. Oh, I'm tired. I'm just gonna... Whatever level I'm on at 2 hours, I'm gonna finish, or if I get a game over, I'll stop. I'm curious actually if I'll finish this level before 2 hours. I don't think this level's particularly long, but I honestly don't remember how long it is. There we go, Cross. Cross is the best sub-weapon. I think by far, but I suppose that's debatable. But just jumping and whipping is satisfying in this game. It's satisfying in all the games. But I really like the... I love the whip animation and the sound effect, just a little swoosh. For whatever reason, it's particularly satisfying. An important detail that I did not know for a while is if you hold the X button... Yeah, it is the X... No, it's the Y button originally. If you hold the whip button, then you can interrupt your swing. And I was playing originally, or at least early on, with on the Wii U Virtual Console version, using the Wii U Pro Controller with the stick. Because I was like, oh, 8 directions, stick, perfect. But I would often whip and then interrupt it accidentally. Like that. Or like I start a swing and then fuck it up. And if you just tap the button, then you won't be able to change the direction mid-swing. That's usually what I do. Although I've also just... I prefer the D-pad now, which doesn't have that issue. It's much harder to accidentally press it other direction with the D-pad. I don't remember who the boss of this stage is. Not the dancers. God, I don't remember. Yeah. Because when you're accidentally interrupting your attack like this, well, this is on purpose, obviously, but it makes you much less effective. Tapping is a useful tactic. Oh. Forgot the stage 5 has no boss. I guess that's why I couldn't remember the boss. There is none. Just transition straight into stage 6. Oh, I'm so tired. Oh. And this is the hole from Castlevania 1 that we just saw in 3. I'll probably play more of 3 on stream, namely like doing hard mode. I like using streaming as an excuse to do like challenges, like hard mode, or I might do like I might do a death-free run of Castlevania, so if I die, I reset. Castlevania 1, to be clear. I would not really want to attempt that in any other Castlevania game, because I don't know them that well, and it would take forever. Castlevania 1 probably only take a couple tries, if even. Just the added caution I would hopefully bring to that. Probably mean I'd be fine. I like moonwalking up the stairs, it's funny. Whoa! Very easy to walk off the platform there. I think this is where Ego Raptor gave up in the Game Grumps series. Which, it's bizarre that he gave up on this game, but finished Dracula X, which is way harder. Also way less fair in terms of difficulty. The level design feels a lot more bullshit. Dracula X. This is a cool part, though. I like the chandeliers. It takes a while to get used to adjusting your jumps in midair to land on the chandeliers while they're moving. Once you do, though, I find it quite satisfying. There's a secret up ahead. I can never remember which... Never remember where it is. The second? Ow. After the second chandelier? Yeah, after the second one. Right there. There's a dude and a dog running around up here. Which, the dog can get up here. I want to do this. Just hang it down here. So he'll almost certainly run. Eventually. Okay, apparently not. Right there. There we go. Makes the dude very sad. Sorry. There's a threat. You can drop through stairs. It's a little clunky. It doesn't, not necessarily like easy to do, but you can do it. And every other one is a sub-weapon down here, which I don't want any of them because I already have the cross. I don't think I'm gonna finish this level in the next 5 minutes. This is probably the last level I do today, which is honestly kind of perfect because this is the 6th level of 12, so halfway. Playing through all of Castlevania 3 and half of 4 in 2 hours is pretty satisfying, actually. That's not bad progress. Ow. Assholes. Oh, the orbs. Not an orb. It's like a gaseous blob. They bounce on the edges of the screen. Usually once one spawns, I take it out. Otherwise, they'll just sort of follow you around. Oh, shit. Oh, I'm not getting that. That sucks. I knew that was breakable, too. I don't know why I did that. It's definitely better to take those blobs as they come. Yeah, like that. Here's the last one. This guy you can kill from down here. I like the little noise they make. Impatient. Being impatient comes with being tired. The two go hand in hand. Does he respawn? He does. In Rondo of Blood, enemies never respawn, even if you exit the screen and come back. Fuck. Oh, that sucks. I hope that resets. I don't remember if it does. The bats are back. Ow. Thought I could just crouch. Remember how to dodge them. I have 99 hearts, so I might as well use a sub-weapon. I don't have the triple shot. Yeah, it does reset. Yeah, it's fine. That's not bad. Just don't be stupid. That's all it takes. This. I think this is the last section before the boss. Shit! Oh! I almost just died there. Didn't though, which is pretty cool. I know. I have riveting commentary. I've just completely run out of shit to say. Which is fine. To me at least, streams feel less, there's less of a need to talk continuously. It's a more chill kind of atmosphere. Or at least that's kind of, what I want it to be. God damn it. I am just completely failing right now. Thinking they die in one hit, because I'm thinking Castlevania 1 or 3, I guess. Whip skeletons again, it's pretty cool. Back. I don't remember where the next ball chicken is. Shit, I was holding up because I was trying to whip him. I didn't mean to go up the stairs. It's fine. Oh, it's not fine if I continue to be stupid after the respawn. Need to use it as a restart for my brain. Oh, fuck. Yeah, this is definitely the last level. It's fine. Satisfying ending. At least as far as numerical progress. Not sure where I actually stopped will be a satisfying spot. I don't remember where the next level starts. Moonwalking on stairs also actually useful. It's right there. If I just gotten right here. If those guys grab you, then these skeletons will attack you. Otherwise, they're intangible. The flashing one. Obviously. You just go slow with the crouch walk. Be careful with the solid ones. Not too bad. Weird, I don't have any sub-weapons yet. If it were a Let's Play, I'd probably show that. I don't feel like it. It's also, like, less of a desire to show everything. Because this is just sort of casual play. In a Let's Play, I'd want to very particularly show everything. Or at least to the best of my ability. Not everything is reasonable to show in every game. I still need to record another video today. 5 days later than I originally planned to. Because my schedule's a mess. It's not like I have that much to do. It's not an unreasonable amount. I had a test on Monday, and I had a paper I had to finish by Tuesday. But otherwise, I haven't had that much school-wise this week. I don't really have an excuse. Oh, there's a 1-up over here. Right there. First 1-up I've gotten in several stages. Either there's no 1-ups in those stages, or I just don't know where they are. The latter is more likely. I remember where they started on the screen. Oh, I'm taking more hits than I should be. Oh, shit! I was trying to just tank it, but it was a bad call. I get infinite tries, though, with the 1-up that respawns. The chain whip that is short does the same amount of damage as the full one, I believe. It's just short. Still longer than the whip in Castlevania Legends, though, which is actually the main reason why it's so low on my favorites list. I actually love the way it feels, and the level design is cool. Your whip is tiny, and I dislike that. That's like one of my only complaints with the game, really, or at least one of my only strong ones. But it's really annoying. It feels like you can't hit anything, and honestly, it drags the whole experience down. That's Castlevania Legends is the third Game Boy Castlevania game. I said that earlier, but whatever. We're clarifying, I guess. It came out around the same time as Symphony of the Night. It came out right after, I think. And it incorporated some of the non-linear ideas. I want to go side. Now, their hitbox is huge, by the way. God, it's so difficult to avoid taking damage from them. Nice, just a great shot. Oh, that's gonna be where I end this. Which for me means just gonna kill myself to see the password. But I'm not gonna make you guys sit through that, so I think that's where I'm gonna end that for this week. This is fun. I made decent progress. Next week I'll probably finish Castlevania 4 and then start. The next in the list would be X68000, but I'd have to do that on my PS3. So we'll see about that. Yeah, I did. I'm pretty happy with the amount of progress. Yeah. So, see you later.